Mahakama ya upeo nchini Kenya imeidhinisha uchaguzi wa Daktari William Samoei Ruto kama rais wa 5 wa Kenya. Katika uamuzi uliosomwa na Jaji Mkuu Martha Koome, malalamishi yote 9 yametupiliwa nje na wanasema kuwa uchaguzi wa urais wa 2022 ulikuwa wa haki na usawa. Rais mteule na naibu wake wataapishwa tarehe 13 wiki ijayo. Mawakili wa pande zote mbili waliongea na wanahabari baada ya kutolewa kwa uamuzi huo na walikuwa na haya ya kusema.
Of lawyers, as we know, we are a team of nearly 50 lawyers and we have been working very hard for the last 14 days, this being the final day. Secondly, we want to thank our clients, the petitioner number 1, Raila Odinga, petitioner number 2, Martha Karua, and other eminent persons in this team, including Senior Counsel Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka, for having their trust and confidence in this team of lawyers to prosecute their case in petition number 5, which has been consolidated with other petitions and put their case before the Supreme Court. I want to say without a fear of contradiction that we do not agree with the decision of the Supreme Court. Like Al Gore, I will say we accept the decision, but we do not agree with it. And I'm saying this as a seasoned practitioner that courts sometimes make mistakes which have to be corrected over time. Courts make political decisions. As you know, in the United States of America, there has been a long-standing case that has been held as universal truth of jurisprudence involving women's rights, Roe versus Wade. It took them 50 years to overturn that case because of a Republican Congress and a Republican president and a Supreme Court that was basically appointed by Republicans. And therefore, I want to say, yes, in accordance with the law, we got to accept this decision as the law of the land. But I think it is a very ideological decision. I think that a lot of what was said in the judgment, and we'll have time when the judgment comes out to put out a critique. But all it means is that in our jurisprudence, the petitioners will always have a big burden to carry when you have an electoral commission which is not open and transparent. The best way for this court to have made a decision was with the servers to be fully opened and all the election materials be placed before the court, as would happen in a case where justice has to be rendered. As you know, and I am saying this again without fear of contradiction, we wanted a comprehensive audit of not only the technology that was applied by the Electoral Commission, but we wanted a proper audit. Although time was of the essence, but I think we had sufficient time to carry out a proper audit, including looking at the issue of the foreign intruders, the Venezuelans, which you'd notice the court avoided in making any comment about those intrusions and invasions of the system, the technology, the IT structure. That again, the court did not refer to, but probably in the judgment, the recent judgment that is coming on the 21st, they will say something about it. And therefore, I want to end by saying the rule of law should prevail. The court normally has the last word in making a statement as to what is the law of the land. But as citizens who are sovereign, we're entitled to disagree and disagree very vehemently. I think the court, in conducting the proceedings during the hearing, I think they were patient. They listened to us. It is only the outcome that we do not agree with. Finally, I think our clients, the two petitioners, Raila Odinga and Martha Karua, may be addressing another press conference, but we are happy to talk to you on this issue.
And have a watertight case, but we saw them talking about forgeries and wild goose chase. Did that surprise you?
No, I mean forgeries. When the DCI, the Director of Criminal Investigations, what do we put before the court? A lot of it was from an agency of government. I didn't see them talking about similar incidents in matters concerning the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission. That's why I was saying it was a little ideological. They were looking for things on which to destroy our case, but similarly not taking sufficient time to look at what happened on the other side. And that will be another story for another day.
Would you admit you might not have been well prepared for this case?
We were very well prepared.
What are the three?
I think compared to 2017, we were a lot more well prepared.
What could be the 2 or 3 points of mistake that you say the court might have made mistake on that? Fundamental.
In 50% plus 1, I think they were ideological. We are using the baseline of total registered voters in the land as against those who turned out to vote. If you read any legal material on what should be a turnout, including the Black's Law Dictionary, turnout is normally based on the registered members in a country as against those who turn out to vote. So there are so many other examples we can take up.
Are you still confident that the results?
Yeah? The issues that the court formulated, but we're quite happy to live with it. I'll talk about it another time. Philip, you want to say something?
Just on the idea that we lost on all 8-9 points, we find it incredible that that could be the holding of the court. In more than several of those cases, we had overwhelming evidence. As my senior counsel, Mr. Orengo, says, the servers were not opened. The involvement of the Venezuelans for a full month before, half a month before the elections and up to the 16th of August was not explained. No, it wasn't even offered. We perhaps are a little distressed on the over-reliance of a registrar's report that has no input from us. That report was completely silent on the failure to open the servers. The servers, repeat, the servers have all the answers. The exact role, we provided evidence that the Venezuelans were downloading documents, creating documents and generating documents. None of that was touched. But as my colleague says, we hope they'll address all this in the final judgment. As somebody has said, it's incredible that we could lose on all points and they could win on all points. But as Senior has explained, it's probably the ideological aspect of this judgment.
Are you still confident on the 21st it will be a different ruling?
No. They have tied their hands. They can't get out of it. They have given their final decision. It's now a question of them finding the reasons for those findings and justifying them. It's not always easy, but I think they have some time to do it.
The other thing that I found a little bit disturbing is the presentation of the Form 34A by somebody I really respect as an advocate, Julie Soweto. It was described as hot hair, but you could see when that evidence was being adduced before the court, how engaged even the justices were. So I found it rather odd for them to describe it as hot air. I think that's why I'm saying this is ideological, because they would have said on the evidence presented, we find there was more weight as to the evidence which was adduced by the other side. But to say that it was hot air and it was a document coming from the Electoral Commission, I found it very, very disturbing.
What next?
If I may explain a little further on that point made by Julie Soweto in the petition, that gentleman, Camargo's name was not supposed to be on Form 34A. If at all he was involved in this election, he was involved on the technology side. So to find it anywhere near a Form 34A raised more questions than answers. There was silence. And of course, on the issue of the famous 34A that Julie was describing, it was found to have been signed by the agents of UDA and UDM on the 7th, which is before the elections. No mention was made of that. So many things, many questions, perhaps more questions than answers, but it is the decision of the court. They have to live with it just as we have. Is that all?
Yeah, thank you. Tuko na imani ya kwamba nchi nzima sasa iko tayari kusonga mbele.
Sasa wakili, labda mtazamo wako, kesi ilipoenda tangu kuanza kwake hadi kufikia leo, mmeridhika na uamuzi ambao umetolewa na mahakama?
Kwanza hali hii yote kuanzia kwa uchaguzi tulomaliza tarehe 9, shughuli ambayo imefanywa na IEBC kufikia kuja hapa mahakamani na uamuzi ambao tumeshuhudia ni kielelezo ya kwamba demokrasia hapa nchini Kenya inaendelea kukomaa. Na ninaamini ya kwamba hapa barani Afrika, bara nzima la Afrika linaweza kujivunia yale ambayo yameshuhudiwa hapa Kenya. Tumefurahia uamuzi kwa sababu ni uamuzi ambao umeonyesha ukakamavu na uwezo wa mahakama ya kilele ya hapa nchini. Na inadhihirisha kwamba tangu tujipatie katiba mpya mwaka 2010, vitengo mbalimbali vya uongozi hapa nchini vinaendelea kuimarika na kuwa thabiti katika majukumu yao mbalimbali. Kwa hivyo sisi tumefurahi kama mrengo wa Kenya Kwanza, kama chama cha UDA tumefurahi, lakini la muhimu zaidi ni kwamba tunafurahia jinsi taifa letu linavyoendelea kukomaa kidemokrasia.
Na mwakili, labda ukiangalia kesi hii, labda ni mambo gani unaona kwamba ilichangia kwamba kesi hii kutupiliwa mbali?
Kesi hii kusema kweli, wale waloleta kesi hii walikuwa na haki yao ya kukuja mahakamani, lakini ukweli ni kwamba hakukuwa na kesi hapa. Hii imekuwa kura moja ambayo imepigwa kwa njia ya wazi sana. Mimi ninasimamia masuala ya nchi za kigeni za katika kampeni hii, na ninazungumza na mabalozi na viongozi wa mataifa mbalimbali na hata mataifa ya Europa yanakubali ya kwamba hayajajionea uchaguzi ulo na uwazi kama uchaguzi ambao tumekuwa nao raundi hii hapa Kenya. Kwa hivyo hakukuwa na kesi, na sisi tuliamini, hata tulipokuwa tunajitayarisha kwa kesi hii, tuliamini hakukuwa na kesi ya uzito wowote. Na jinsi ambavyo tumesikiza mahakama ikiamua, basi ni ukweli ya kwamba hakukuwa na malalamishi thabiti. Shukrani.
Kwa sasa matumaini yenu ni ipi, especially tukiongea mambo ya transition?
Matumaini yetu sasa ni kwamba tunataka kwanza kujitayarisha rais mteule Mheshimiwa William Ruto apokezwe rasmi mamlaka kama rais wa taifa la Kenya, na kwa hivyo kuanzia sasa shughuli ni matayarisho ya tarehe 13, siku ya kuapishwa rasmi kwa Mheshimiwa William Ruto kama rais wa 5 wa taifa la Kenya. Matayarisho yalikuwa yanaendelea, lakini sasa yatashika kasi, na baada ya hapo tuanze kazi. Tungependa taifa letu lisonge mbele. Mfumo wetu wa bottom up ni mfumo wa kuinua Wakenya kutoka chini. Gharama ya maisha imewanyonga Wakenya wengi. Tungependa tuanze kazi mara moja. Kwa hivyo la muhimu zaidi kuapishwa, alafu kazi ianze.
Na mnaposema watu wa Kenya wote waje pamoja, je, pia itamhusisha Bwana Odinga na watu wake wote?
Mheshimiwa Raila Odinga ana heshima zake kama mkongwe wa uongozi hapa nchini. Heshima zake tutampa kama kiongozi ambaye amechangia pakubwa katika hata hii demokrasia tunayozungumzia, amechangia pakubwa, na sisi tutampa heshima, lakini lazima ieleweke ya kwamba katika demokrasia yoyote ile, iwe hapa Afrika, iwe nchi za Europa ama hata Marekani, lazima tuwe na upinzani. Kwa hivyo tunatarajia kwamba wenzetu watachukulia jukumu lao la upinzani kama jukumu muhimu ili Kenya iwe na dhana na sera na fikra mbadala kando na ile yetu kama chama tawala.
Tunazungumzia kuhusu swala la upinzani na mmevuta watu wote, sasa mtabaki na kina nani?
Upinzani upo, hakuna yeyote tunayevuta. Yule ambaye yuko tayari kuja kufanya kazi na sisi anakaribishwa, lakini wale ambao wataendelea katika majukumu hayo vile vile tunatarajia kwamba wataendelea na hayo majukumu.
Mheshimiwa, labda kuweza kuongelea swala la senior counsel na junior counsel kotini. Wakati tumeona mawakili wadogo wakiwa ndani ya koti, experience ya kuweza kuwapatia nafasi katika platform kama hii imekuwa kwaje? Ni hali nzuri sana kwa sababu inaonyesha kwamba sekta ya sheria hapa nchini imekomaa na kwamba mawakili wa kongwe ama mawakili wa hadhi ya juu wako tayari kushika mkono wale mawakili ambao wanaanza kazi na kuwapa nafasi, kuwapa fursa ili vile vile wao waweze kuhudumu. Kwa hivyo limekuwa swala la kufurahia sana.
The time to assemble a new team has now started. We now move forward as one country and as one people. Asanteni sana.
So you will receive the statement from the President-elect.
Thank you.
His Excellency Dr. William Samoei Ruto. Thank you.
Nikiripotia Ayo TV kutoka Nairobi, jina langu ni Ronald Sang.